I have devastating news for the Carolina Panthers offensive line, as star left tackle Ikem Ekwonu has suffered a torn patellar tendon that ends his season immediately. But before we break this down, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that like button. We are trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so please support the channel. This is a nightmare scenario for a team that was finally starting to see some consistency up front. Losing a former 6th overall pick like Ikem Ekwonu is a gut punch to the entire organization. I am talking about a guy who was the cornerstone of the rebuild for the offensive line. Dave Canales confirmed the severity today, and the outlook is grim because a patellar tendon tear is one of the most difficult injuries for a big man to overcome. This happened during the heat of a playoff battle, which makes the sting even worse for the fans in Charlotte. When I look at the trajectory Ekwonu was on, I see he was becoming that reliable blindside protector that Bryce Young desperately needs to develop. Now the Panthers are forced back to the drawing board at the most important position on the line. I am looking at the long-term ramifications here, because this isn't just about this season's playoffs. This is about the start of next year and the speed of his lateral movement going forward. For a tackle, your base is everything. If that knee isn't 100%, you become a liability against elite speed rushers. The Panthers have invested so much capital into this unit, and seeing a pillar like Ikem go down is just deflating. I have to consider what this does to the play calling. Dave Canales wants to establish a physical run game and keep the pocket clean. Without Ikem, the pressure on the rest of the unit doubles. The depth chart behind him is thin, and the options in free agency right now are basically non-existent. This forces the front office to look at the draft or potentially a massive trade, but those aren't easy moves to make midstream. I've watched Ikem since his days at NC State, and he has always been a warrior, but this injury tests the mental fortitude of any athlete. The recovery timeline for this specific tear usually spans 9 to 12 months, meaning we might not see him at full strength until well into next season. This is a massive test for the coaching staff to see how they can mask this deficiency. The Panthers cannot afford to let Bryce Young take more hits, yet without their starting left tackle, the blind side is wide open. This is a dark day for the franchise, and the recovery starts now for the young star. The team has to rally around whoever steps into that spot, but let's be real, you don't just replace a talent like this overnight. I'll be watching the injury reports closely, because this changes everything for the current postseason run.
I want to dive deeper into what this means for the salary cap and the upcoming draft strategy for the Carolina Panthers. When you lose a starter like Ikem Ekwonu, you realize how fragile a roster really is. The cap hits for offensive linemen are skyrocketing, and while Ikem is still on his rookie deal, the cost to bring in a veteran replacement could be astronomical. I believe the Panthers might have to restructure several contracts just to find a serviceable starter to bridge the gap. I also think about the psychological impact on the quarterback. Bryce Young has had a roller coaster start to his career, and just as he was finding a rhythm, his best protector is gone. This changes the timing of the offense entirely. I suspect Canales will likely have to keep a tight end in to chip or keep a running back in for extra protection, which limits the number of weapons in the passing game. It is a domino effect that ruins the offensive flow. Looking at the history of patellar tendon injuries in the NFL, players like Victor Cruz never truly returned to their peak form. While medical technology has improved, for a 300-pound man, the strain on that tendon is immense. The Panthers medical staff will be under the microscope here. I am also curious to see how general manager Dan Morgan reacts. Does he get aggressive in the trade market, or does he trust the internal depth? Names like Yosh Nijman or other swing tackles will have to step up, but they are not Ikem Ekwonu. The fan base is rightfully worried because we've seen this story before, where one injury derails an entire season's progress. We need to see a clear plan from the front office on how they intend to protect their franchise investment at quarterback. This injury creates a massive hole in the roster that wasn't there 48 hours ago. It's a cruel reminder of how quickly things change in the NFL. I expect the Panthers to be very active in the scouting department, looking for tackle depth in the middle rounds of the draft now. They simply can't rely on a quick recovery. We have to hope for the best for Ikem, but the team must prepare for the worst. Make sure you stay tuned as we track his surgery and rehab progress over the coming weeks. It's going to be a long journey back for number 79. In summary, this is a massive blow to the Panthers' aspirations. But before we go, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and hit that like button. We are trying to hit our goal of 1,000 subscribers, so please support the channel. I'll see you in the next update as we monitor this situation closely.